Hello, everybody, and welcome. I am Arlaana Black, and we are here with Johnnie Mitchell. And we are going to start off with discussing physical illness. But before we begin, remember our motto: you are the protagonist, not the victim of your destiny. Okay, so how do we view illness as a protagonist? Illness is an integral and important part of our experience of being alive. Johnnie, take it away and share your thoughts about this.
Thank you, Arlaana. Hello, everybody. I am so glad we are talking about this aspect of our lives today, physical illness, because that is the bedrock of our existence as a human being. Illness is an opportunity to live with more meaning and purpose. Illness provides us with the responsibility to decide how one will deal with the experience. It's a time for self-reflection, a time to become the precious protagonist versus the victim. Not resorting to denial that I don't have this or that symptom doesn't mean that, but it's a time to accept that responsibility, that the most important person to us is us at the time, and that we have the authority to deal with this illness. It's a time to shine with self-love and how precious we are, and to be sure that we have the wealth of health.
I absolutely love what you just had to say, because it always comes back to us. We're the only ones we have, and being in denial is not respecting the dignity of our own life. I've had many experiences with family members and friends where denial really caused that person to suffer unbelievably. They denied that they weren't feeling well, so they weren't going to take care of themselves. They denied that they have certain pain, so they just kind of fluffed it off and didn't really, take good care of themselves. Or certain people say, oh, I'm not going to go to the doctor, or I can't do this, I can't do that. And denial is really ultimately how we view our lives. No matter how much you deny, it's not going away, right? So I want to just share a brief experience of a very kind of a sad experience of a friend of the family, and she was absolutely gorgeous. She was very, very popular and very athletic, and I don't know if those of you listening, you remember the name Farrah Fawcett. She had beautiful hair, and she was beautiful, and this young woman looked so much like her, and she was diagnosed with breast cancer. So her husband, because she was such a beautiful woman and such a stately, gorgeous body, said, well, let's go for alternative treatments. And he couldn't even imagine that somebody that athletic and beautiful could die, which she ended up doing at age 40, because somehow they really didn't take care and looking at the reality that she was really very, very sick. So I want to share something about my own experience. So we have the choice to give in to despair or to triumph. When I was little, I think I shared in the previous podcast, I was diagnosed with a heart murmur, but such that I had to have it kept watch on. And I was in and out of a hospital in New Jersey called Deborah Hospital. And when I was told at 12 years old that I was fine, I no longer needed to go to the hospital. Well, at age 30, I got a chest x-ray just because I needed a chest x-ray for some insurance purposes. And the doctor surprised me by telling me that I had a very enlarged heart, and I was really shocked. And she sent me to a cardiac surgeon, and he said I have something called a silent killer, that once you get symptoms, it's too late. And here I was 30 years old, and I was told that I would probably die in my 40s because of this, undiagnosed heart problem. So I needed open heart surgery, feeling totally fine, no symptoms whatsoever. And I was scared to death. And I realized that when you look death in the face, and when you challenge to overcome that fear of death and you determine, I will be victorious, I will not be a victim, I will be a protagonist, I will not be defeated, I will win over this terrible situation. And in those days, heart surgery was much more intense than it is today. So I went into the, before I was even admitted to the hospital, I was told by one of my friends, because I thought it was a sign, because I wasn't called by the hospital didn't call me for a while until late in the afternoon, and I called him and I said, I think this is a sign that means I don't need the surgery. And he said, well, you can come to me and I have a scissors here, I'll take care of you. Obviously, he was joking. And then just a few minutes later, I got a call from the hospital. Now, we said before that we're practitioners of SGI Buddhism, and I was chanting Nam Myoho Renge Kyo furiously to have a successful surgery. When I got into the hospital, the admitting clerk, in those days they used typewriters, along her typewriter she had the words Nam Myoho Renge Kyo, which was like, whoa, talk about mystic, talk about profound. So I was so encouraged, and I said, okay, I'm here in the hospital to have a surgery, but I'm also going to encourage as many people as possible. And of course, I had successful surgery. And 2 days after I had the surgery, I was running around the hospital with lots and lots of energy. And one of the doctors said, I thought you were having open heart surgery. Now, obviously, I had a big scar, and I had a big bandage across my chest. And he just couldn't believe that somebody with that kind of, energy could have just, had open heart surgery. So I was really, really victorious and didn't give in to defeat or fear. The most difficult part of the hospital stay was I was put in a room with somebody about my age, and we kept on laughing. And if you know anything about having a cracked sternum, it was so painful every time I laughed. But anyway, that was a pretty amazing experience. And I'll share another, but I want to go back to Johnnie.
Well, thank you for sharing that, Arlaana. And that reminds me that while you've had the practice of SGI, Nichiren Buddhism, that I went through my life without that experience or about that knowledge. And so I have encountered numerous illnesses in my family and personally. And even though I didn't know the laws at the time, I guess I was acting as a protagonist in my life and in my family's life, that when things have happened, there has always been this appreciation for life and gratitude for this precious thing that we call life, and that I always vowed to do whatever, however, to maintain life and to make it the best that it can possibly be within my capabilities. And so now that I have adopted SGI Nichiren Buddhism as my life, I know it's very similar to the belief in a protagonist as a lion. A lion, as you know, is the great creature of the wild kingdom and the roar of a lion. So whenever illness or dis-ease comes into our lives, we turn on the roar of the lion. seeing it as an opportunity to demonstrate and feel the worthiness of this wonderful thing we call life. Appreciation for even the slightest improvement, small victories, recognizing then to be thankful for the true wealth.
I love how you just said that, and I love what you said about the true wealth and the lion's roar. And if you've ever been in contact with a lion, hopefully you're not getting too close to a lion to actually have an experience like that. But the lion's roar is so powerful, and it just scares all of the beasts away. And that's, to look at our life that way, to say, okay, I've been diagnosed with 4-stage cancer, but I'm going to roar like a lion. I'm going to scare that cancer away. And then you may not be able to scare the cancer away, but you still don't have to be defeated. And I have to share another, experience of a gentleman who was the most amazing flamenco dancer, just encouraged multiple of thousands of people with his dance with his wife, and they were just a beautiful, beautiful couple. And he was diagnosed with 4-stage cancer. And he fought it for many years, and his spirit was always joyful. He always had such appreciation for every day that his life was extended. And even though ultimately he passed away from cancer, his spirit was never defeated. And we never know how long we're going to live. Some people have short lives but are so dynamic and are remembered as the most incredible individual. And some people have really long lives, and maybe they die joyfully or they die with regret and not having impacted anybody else. So the important thing is how we live each day of our lives, because every day, is precious. So again, even though he succumbed to cancer, his spirit didn't succumb. And that encouraged so many people. So I wanted to just ask you, what does it mean, never to be defeated? Because that's a concept that we use a lot in our practice, but not everybody thinks about those words, never be defeated. So how would you, Johnnie, view that? What does that mean, never to be defeated?
Well, it means exactly what it says, that even if the person should succumb to death, that we still face death victoriously and in appreciation for the opportunity to have this life. And that is what it means to me. It's not, woe be me, why did this happen to me? It's, bring it on. I am thankful that I am here to experience this and to do whatever you can do. Keep it as your wealth. And practically, the things that I have done in my life and in my family's life is that be very careful and mindful about what we eat.
Absolutely.
And what we put into this precious body, and also what we do not let eat us, which is stress from outside.
Yep.
So that's a wrap for today. We'd love to hear from you, your experiences with overcoming illness, personally, a friend, family member, or the general human family in general that you may know of. We would like to leave you with these messages for today. Number 1, illness is an opportunity to win over yourself and your negativity. And as we have said, health is the new wealth. Become people of true wealth. Number 2, Appreciate even the slightest improvement in your health. Number 3, defeat lies in never, ever giving up. Number 4, never have the why me victim mentality. Number 5, if you decide victory or defeat, do not let it be your illness or injury that makes that decision. And there's one last bit of encouragement. Would you like to read that, Arlaana?
Sure. When we are aware that each moment of each day, each gesture and step we take is truly mystical and full of wonder, we will live our lives with greater thought and care. We will also have great respect and appreciation for the lives of others. So, tune in next week when we will discuss a even more challenging subject, mental illness. And I think everybody is touched by mental illness in some way, whether ourselves, family members, friends, students, teachers, etc., etc. Thank you so much. Our motto is, you are the protagonist, not the victim of your destiny. Just Google us at Don't Mess with the Mommas podcast. Mommas is spelled Mommas. You can also find us at Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Facebook, and YouTube. And don't forget to email us at mommas, mommas.podcast@gmail.com. Thank you so much.